Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I just want to preface this video by saying that this is going to be a video on mental health and more specifically my experience recently with having my first panic attack. So if this is not your cup of tea, if you are a parent and you don't want your kids watching this, please click on out. As hard as this is going to be for me to make it, I feel it's so important because it's an essential piece of my purpose in making my YouTube channel, which is to bring awareness to mental health and just health in general. I also want to preface this by saying that I am not a professional. I don't have any licenses or certificates in regards to mental health. I'm just going to jump into what exactly happened when I had this panic attack. I was coming home from breakfast with my boyfriend and his friends. That morning I was really sick, but it was just like a common cold. So I was on my way home. I was going up this main street leading to my apartment, and this had happened to me a couple times, but I started feeling like I was going to pass out. I started to panic. I didn't realize yet that I was having a full-blown panic attack. Keep in mind, I'm driving, so I think that that's why I was going into panic mode, because I'm thinking I'm going to black out and crash into somebody and possibly kill somebody else, possibly kill myself. My boyfriend's not going to know what's going on because he was, ahead of me. I thought to myself, let me just pull off the road instead of just slamming on my brakes and stopping. So I got in the turn lane, and this all happened within a matter of maybe 10 to 15 seconds, but it felt like forever. Okay, sorry everyone, my camera died. So welcome to me never being prepared for anything. Okay, so like I was saying, I was in the turning lane and I'm at this point thinking I'm gonna pass out, okay? So I get on the phone with my boyfriend because I just felt like I needed to let him know in case anything happened, but also because didn't want him showing up to my apartment like, where the heck is she? So yeah, I pulled over and somehow miraculously made it into this parking structure, and there was a little coffee shop right there. So I ran in because I felt sick to my stomach, and so I run in, and to save you details, I did get sick, and I got really scared at that point as well, like more worried, because I'm like, this is really bizarre that I am getting this sick out of nowhere. I didn't feel stressed that day. I didn't feel overwhelmed in any way. I did have a lot going on in my life, but it wasn't like it was anything that I would consider having a panic attack over. So my boyfriend ends up getting there. I walk outside. At this point, I realize as I'm walking outside and meet him in the front of this coffee shop place, I'm shaking violently. I feel flushed. I don't know if you've ever passed out or fainted, but you feel like there's no blood in your face. I was like, I can't drive. He's like, that's fine. So he left his truck in the parking lot and he took my car and me, obviously, and we went back to my apartment. Once we got there, I remember being in my room and I still felt awful, and I didn't get why. I'm still shaking, my heart's still pounding, I still feel weak, I still feel like I need to pass out. So I was like, in my brain, I'm like, let me try to distract myself from this feeling, and hopefully that will allow me to calm down enough to get over what's ever going on. I remember getting this new book that I got, and I start reading it, and it's helping a little bit, but definitely not enough to get me to calm down. I was still shaking. At this point, I was shaking so bad, and my insides felt like they were quivering so bad that it was hard for me to breathe properly. I remember catching my breath was so difficult for me. I couldn't do it. Like talking about it now makes it hard for me to breathe because I remember the feeling. And so I'm trying to read, it's not working, and I tell my boyfriend, like, this isn't working. I feel awful. I feel so sick. Something's wrong with me. I don't know what it is. And he's like, how about you try laying down? So I'm like, all right. So I lay down, and at this point, I don't remember how soon after I lay down, but it was pretty quick. I remember feeling my toes start to tingle. Kind of the same way if your foot ever fell asleep, then you get that tingly feeling. I started feeling that in both of my toes, in both of my feet and my toes, and then it started to gradually work its way up, the feeling, up my legs, up my thighs, up my arms. And once it reached my arms, the tingling turned into, on my left side only, it turned into a numbness. I felt like everything was just going limp, almost like I was immobile on only my left side. At this point, I'm still thinking I'm dying. I don't know what from. I know it's not from a heart attack. I might be stroking out. I don't know. Maybe I'm having a brain hemorrhage. I don't know. Like, legitimately, when you're panicking, you're thinking you're dying. That's just what happens. This was probably the height of the panic attack because I think I'm dying. So I remember calling out to my boyfriend because I couldn't really speak. I'm like telling him that he might have to call an ambulance. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And he was like, do you want me to call? He's a very calm person, by the way, and thank God for him. If you have anxiety or depression, get yourself somebody who is a calm person because you're going to need that. But yeah, he's like asking me really calmly, like, what do you need? Like, do you need me to call 911? I will. Do you want me to just take you in the car and we can get in the car and go? And I'm just like, I don't know what I need. I don't know what's going on. And I was like, let me just calm down. Also, I just want to side note, my dad is a retired firefighter paramedic. So for me, if I were to call 911, it would be because there is an actual emergency. And so I needed to know 100% that I was having an emergency situation, and that I wasn't just panicking just to panic. At this point, I'm like, let me just calm down. I'm calming myself down a little bit. And he has this brilliant idea. He suggested, let me run a bath for you. Would that be okay? And then you can kind of relax in there. He's just trying to think what will relax her. I get in the bath, long story short, and I remember I went from shaking to just kind of like a little quiver to, okay, I feel better. Wow. I feel like I could breathe a little bit easier. My brain is starting to slow down a little bit. I don't feel like I'm on fire. I don't have the chills. Like, all of those physical symptoms started kind of diminishing, and I felt a little bit more normal. So I remember getting out of the bathtub, and I remember standing there in my room with a towel on, and I'm thinking to myself, I still don't feel 100%. I said something to my boyfriend because he suggested that we get into the spa that's at my apartment complex, and I'm like, great idea. So somehow we managed to get over there without me panicking again, and we get in the spa, and I would say at this point while I'm in the spa, I probably was like 80%. I was like down to like a 20. I'm not even joking, and now I'm like up to like, okay, I'm 80% good to go. And so it was a good feeling to be there. And we were probably in the spa, I'm guessing, at least 3 to 4 hours. At least that's what it felt like. I could be completely wrong. And my boyfriend might watch this and be like, we were in there for like 30 minutes. I don't know. It felt like a really, really long time though. And the reason is because I was so afraid of getting out of the spa because I didn't want to go back into that place, that horrible panic mode. I eventually told myself in my brain, girl, get it together. You need to function properly. We can't be in here all night. So let's go. I remember at that point giving myself enough courage to... Okay, sorry everyone. Hopefully this is the last time I have to do this. My camera keeps shutting off. But anyways, so I worked up the courage to get out of the spa, and next thing I remember is I'm in my room, and it's a little bit later at night at this point. So my boyfriend mentioned that he needed to get his truck still. It was still at the coffee shop parking lot. So he was like, do you want your roommates to take us over there so you don't have to drive? And I was like, no, I need to just figure this out. So long story short, everything was fine, got his truck. I didn't feel great, but it was what it was. Went to sleep that night, still kind of worried because I wasn't feeling 100%, but I thought that by the time I woke up the next day, I would feel great. I had work the next day, so I decided, I had things to do in the morning, so I decided I had to get there early, and so I had to drive myself. As I was driving to work, I realized that I still felt panicky, and I felt that faint feeling, but I was able to make it to work. I got through most of the morning before work started, decent, but I still realized that I wasn't doing well. And being a teacher that, you know, takes my job seriously, I do not like to be at work if I'm not going to be my 100% self, because I don't feel like it's fair to my students, and I don't want to affect them negatively, and I didn't want them to see me off in any way. So I decided to get a sub to come in about halfway through the day because I figured I could at least make it till then. I had things to do in the morning, like interviews for Link Crew, and then I also had a meeting. And while I was in the meeting, I realized I wasn't going to make it halfway through the day. I ended up feeling like I was going to faint again. I told my boss, like, hey, I need to go home. I'm so sorry. I got a sub, but there's still, I think at that point it was like 15 minutes until they were supposed to get there. And so she was like, we'll figure it out, don't worry, which was, God bless her, because I was not doing well at all. And so to the point where I called my dad, and so he gets there and he convinced me that I was good enough, or well enough, I guess, to take my car to my apartment, which was like 20 minutes away from my work. And I left my car there. He took me to the emergency room. They ran all these tests, and they told me that all of my test results came back perfect. Like, they said textbook perfect, which made me so frustrated in that moment to hear that, because as great as that should feel, that everything, like, I'm a really healthy person, I knew that although I try so hard to take care of myself physically, I'm obviously not doing a great job taking care of myself mentally, and that was really hard for me to hear. And I remember feeling really embarrassed, which was also frustrating, because I just hate feeling embarrassed about those kind of things. And even later on, I got more frustrated because it's just so sad that people are programmed to think of mental illness as you're crazy, you are unstable, you can't function in society, you're a detriment to others around you. It's not always that. Depends on what obviously you have. But anxiety is anxiety, and everybody feels it, and some people, like myself, feel it to the extreme. Others maybe just get a little bit nervous before doing like some type of presentation or going in for an interview, but it's all anxiety, and it's all part of your mental health. So what I want to end this video with by saying is everything is about balance. You may be the most tip-top shape physically, but mentally you're not taking care of yourself, and that's what I've come to realize, is that physical health, although everyone in 2019 talks about it, and that's the way to live your life, is just to be physically in shape, it's so much more than that. Your health it comes in your physical, your mental, your emotional, your spiritual, all of that is types of health, and there's so much more to that. But again, I'm not a professional, I'm not going to go into all of that, but I am learning from my own experience and from talking to professionals that there's so many different types of your body that you need to take care of, and it's not just your physical health. Although that is important, everything is equally important. Don't be like me, don't make my mistakes, take care of yourself in whatever way works for you. I'm going to be making more videos about what works for me, but again, I'm never going to say this is what you need to be doing, because everyone's different, and also because I'm not a professional, I don't have the right to be telling people what to do. But I have experienced things, I have talked to professionals, I have researched, I have lived it, and I'm experiencing it, and I want to share all of that with you. And so maybe it'll give you some ideas about what works for you. If anything, as long as you can feel like you're not alone and you're relating in some way, I feel like I'm doing what I made this channel to do. So I'm going to end the video with that because my camera is probably about to die any second now. I want to say thank you so much for watching my video today, and for subscribing, to those of you who have, and for liking my video and supporting me in any way that you have. I appreciate you all. I hope you have a great day. Bye.